That's in Minnesota. Now, listen, we've been reporting for the last couple of days about $1 billion or more that was supposed to go for COVID relief. COVID relief in, where a lot of cities got federal money to help with the shutdowns, to help people get money while they weren't working in their jobs. And we know that the Somali community, many of them illegal immigrants, some of them legal immigrants, doesn't matter, they were all committing crimes, took that money and funneled it right back to the al-Shabaab terrorist group in Africa. We know this is the case. Of course, since then, we've learned of other programs, both state and federal, where money was taken. One story that's been completely suppressed, and talk about two-tier justice, is another story out of Minnesota that we learned earlier this week, where a Somali couple was running one of those phony Medicaid scam health clinics. And I say one of those phony because this is an old scam. This is a scam that's been going on in this country for probably about 50 years, where people set up health care centers, or they say they're setting them up, usually in immigrant communities, where the police and where the other investigators may not know the language and may not be able to really infiltrate into the community and get informers and things like that. This is something that the Russian immigrant community in Brooklyn has been doing for years. They get a storefront, they get an address, they go out on the street and ask people who speak their language, come on in, sign your name, and then they start billing Medicaid for health services and medical services that were never actually performed. And that's the end of that. They usually give them something like $50. Back in the early 2000s, they used to give out iPods. Remember, just iPods, not iPhone music. They used to do that over there in Brooklyn. Well, that's what a Somali couple was accused of doing, to the tune of $7.2 million in Medicaid fraud. And they were convicted by a Minnesota jury, which probably wasn't easy to do. Probably wasn't easy to seat a jury in Minneapolis where there are so many Somali immigrants who would have looked the other way. Well, they were convicted. And then the judge in the case earlier this week overturned the conviction, saying, well, she didn't like the way the evidence looked. Again, this is an old scam. This is like the old pigeon drop scam or the old Nigerian prince scam. It's not like it was anything new or a new indictment or something that was conjured up just to go after Somalis. It's an old scam. People from all immigrant groups in this country have been doing this probably, like I said, for 4 decades. The judge overturned it. Two-tier justice. This isn't going to work, folks.